What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Thor Meter podcast. I'm your host Sock from Detailing Made Simple, and today we're still continuing on the Rinseless Wash tier list, and this time it will be a head-to-head battle between DIY Detail Rinseless Wash V2 versus Pans the Organizer's Rinseless Wash. Now, both of these are, if I remember correctly, they're both hybrid, or I think this has a little bit more polymer than DIY V2. But this is a perfect comparison to do this rinseless wash. And I have a super dirty vehicle. I do have Titan Tim. He's right behind the camera. So he's going to see this vehicle, as you see right up here on the overhead. It is super dirty. I'm just going to do and show you the hood where we polished, because we did polish and apply Immortal on this. And it's a great test subject to show that rinseless wash doesn't scratch your vehicle any more than a soap wash. But we will do a hybrid wash afterwards, so stay tuned for the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will get straight into the dilution ratios and which ones we are going to do first. All right, everyone, so here I have 10 liters of water, or close to 10 liters, and let me just double check. And now I'm spinning everything. Yep, so I got close to 2.5 gallons of water, so I am going to put 2 ounces, so it's half an ounce per gallon, so I'm gonna put 1 ounce right here. That's for bam, and one more, a bit of half. That is because it is 2.5 gallons of water, so half an ounce per gallon, or 1 ounce per 2 gallons. So that's that. Next up, for Pan the Organizer, this is his brand new bottle. And as you can see, based on the text. So same thing applies. This is where I also have close to 2.5, so 2.5 gallons. So here is 30 milliliters is 1 ounce. Put that in there, and 15 milliliters is half an ounce. So there we go. Put that inside the black bucket, mix it up. And as you can definitely see, the polymers are much stouter on Pans than it is on the DIY Detail one. So time to get started. What I'm going to get started first is with DIY Details. And the reason for that is because I've been using both of these for a while already. I do have the old Rinseless Wash over there as well. And let me grab that bottle, just because I know that one is a little bit more surfactant heavy than, not surfactant heavy, polymer heavy. And this is the original bottle of Pan's Rinseless Wash. So I've used this a lot. And I know the polymer on the Rinseless Wash on Pans is a bit stouter than DIY. So I don't want to affect the, slickness of interchanging the sponge. So, yep, let's get started. Oh, this is a clean IK sprayer, and we are going to start off with DIY Detail. So as you saw in the before walk around, the vehicle is dirty. There is no pretty much room for error on the car's paint, especially on the hood as well, since this one you can clearly see better with the overhead lights on the swirls and scratches that are on there. And Titan Tim behind the cameras, he said it beforehand about doing a rinseless wash on this car, and I will prove to you that you're not going to scratch the vehicle with the right techniques. So I'm going to pump this up a little bit, and I'm just going to do half, or this part of the hood, so this way we can all see. And you want to use the pressure of your IK foamer or a sprayer to really push off that dirt and grime off. The dirtier the vehicle, the more rinseless wash you're going to use. That is pretty much the premise of everything. The more dirt you have, you will use either a higher alkaline soap, or you're going to use more soap because you're going to foam it on, rinse it off, foam it on again, etc. So that is something you must keep in mind. So spray that on just as such. And then while it's encapsulating the dirt, This does have a mortal on it, but the owner does not take care of the vehicle. This is, something to always keep in mind. And I am, for test number 1, going to grab this sponge and I am going to glide this over the paint. Now, in terms of slickness, is it slick? Yes, the DIY V2 is much slicker than their V1. And I am doing this to grab some dirt and grime. And for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna go down here to the lower part, Tim. I'm gonna spray this here. And I'm going to grab with the same part here, same side, to grab as much dirt as possible. As you can see, that is a dirty sponge. So what I'm going to do is just dunk this. This is a clean auto fiber one as well. Just gonna dunk it like that. I didn't go to the grit guard. Gonna lift this up. Clean. That is a clean sponge. So this is why I prefer hybrid rinseless washes or more surfactant heavy ones compared to, as if you all don't know from last week's episode, with with HydroSave, where it stains your wash media. So that is just the downside with heavy polymer rinseless washes. So as you saw, I did that, and as a insurance, if you do have a vehicle that is super dirty, you go back over it again just to make sure you grab a bit extra dirt and grime just in case. So as a dry off, let's see how well this dries off. And in terms of dry off, yes, it is slick. It's still a little bit, I'm not gonna say grabby. It's not the slickest rinseless wash out there in terms of using it as a standalone. Yes, you can use it as a standalone, but you can use, say, a drying aid on top of that if you like. But in terms of scratches, did I add any more scratches, or did I even add any scratches, Tim, from your point of view? I went straight up and down.
I see absolutely no scratches.
No added scratches onto the paint. So yes, you can do a rinseless wash. This is a full black paint, and I will put on the overhead on how I left this paint beforehand when you saw the how to remove bugs from your car's paint. This was the paint I polished, and it was never perfect to begin with. So yeah, that is about it for DIY detail, and I'll talk more about stuff at the during the outro, because there's a lot more stuff that we're going to cover as well. So time to go over to pans. And then I don't care, you could just turn over on this side right away. You don't even have to pause it. Alrighty, everyone. So Titan Tim just did a quick B-roll on that hood to see all that dirt and grime. And same thing, IK sprayer. We are going to dunk this inside. The same dilution, whatever's in your bucket, just close this up. And we are ready to go. And on the further test with that auto fiber double flip, Titan Tim and I will test that while we record later, but we'll talk about it more on the outro. So same thing applies. As I stated before, try to go up close. Use the pressure of your IK sprayer to blow off that debris and dirt, that topical stuff. And whatever's left behind is typically just the traffic film. And as you can see, this is already starting to beat up a little bit. This is where you have a little bit more polymer on it, and polymers typically add a bit more beading or repellency. I'm just spraying down here for the demonstration purpose of when I use the rinseless wash sponge. And I will have to take a quick pause because I need to rinse this down. So I'll pause this. So I rinse this down in the sink. So now it's time to dunk this inside the rinseless wash bucket. And we are here ready to do the contact. So as you can see, this is what we're left with. And same thing, no pressure, just your weight of the hand. And we are going to just go same thing, straight up and down. And I'm just gonna keep this the same. Yes, it is dirty. This is demonstration purposes only. Again, typically you wanna flip right over and do that second pass right there. And I am going to grab this extra dirt right down here, the same way we grabbed on the other side. And that is a dirty thing. So, same thing applies. I'm just gonna dunk it just as I did with DIY detail rinseless wash. Gonna flip this over, pick this up, gonna squeeze this out. And as you can see, it is clean. Gotta get rid of that little floaty there, but it is completely clean. As you can see, it is not like HydroSave where it stained my wash media. So this is the proof on why I like hybrids. Same thing applies. If you have extra dirt, just do a second pass just for insurance purposes. And I'm grabbing a fresh other towel, same thing, long nap, twist loop, just to keep everything fair, because if I was to use a micro twist side, then it may skew the slickness type of feel that I get. So what I'm gonna do here is one pass up, and I just went up and down, never left and right. So if you see any ridge, which is random isolated deep scratches, those were there to begin with. And Titan 10 camera work.
I see no scratches on this side as well.
Yep. So as you can see, no extra scratches added. Now in terms of slickness, pans did feel a little bit slicker than DIY, and we will talk about all this other stuff in depth during the outro. So I'll see you all at the end. Alrighty everyone, so hopefully you all enjoyed this rinseless wash tier list video, and I'll play up here on the overhead because Tim and I will go a little bit in depth of what we enjoyed, what we like about each rinseless wash, and we will rank them whether it's S, A, B, or C tier, and so on. So that is what we're gonna do. So just like everything, I have things written down, and Tim will have his reasoning for each one. So Titan 10 for both DIY and clean rinseless wash. Let's talk about slickness on both the sponge and the towel during the wash process. Which one did you prefer? Were they both slick? Was one slicker than the other? You know,
Yep.
What is your verdict?
Well, first of all, they're both excellent. I would pick either one of these. As far as slickness during application with the sponge, I felt the DIY detail was a little bit slicker.
Okay.
And then during the wipe off of the drying was just a little bit slicker.
Just a little
So
bit
that's as far as the interact with the sponge and the microfiber.
And the microfiber as the washing process. Okay, Now what is the slickness for dry off? And I agree with that. For me, it does feel a bit slicker DIY during the wash process, but what about the dry off without a drying aid? Say it's already on the paint and you're drying the paint. Which one was slicker in your opinion?
Yeah, and this is what's bizarre is because when I was drying them off, pans felt slicker during the dry off.
Yep.
The DIY had some grabbiness to it.
Yep.
But you would think that would not be the case, but it was.
Now, in terms of the grabbiness, is it marginally different in terms of slickness during dry off from pans versus DIY, or is it more of like, say, pans dry off is a 7.5 and DIY is like a 7? Is that like, or like, is it that much more different?
I'd say DIY is probably, if we're going to use 7 as the thing. 7.5, possibly 8.
For pans?
As far as, statistically significant, it wasn't totally significant, but you could definitely tell a difference.
Okay, definitely. Okay, so that's pro. And this is because pans does have a little bit more polymer than DIYs. Okay, so next up, I think they're both hybrid washes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just know that Pans has a little bit more polymers than DIYs. Now, next up, we already said slickness. Next up is encapsulation of the dirt, pushing that dirt off, the grime and all that stuff. So Titan Tim was surprised when I said, we're gonna rinseless wash his whole dirty car. And he was like, oh, are we gonna scratch the car? No, we didn't. So encapsulation, as you can tell, we sprayed it on, we used the wash media, which was the sponge or the towel, and we removed that dirt and grime. Did we add any scratches on the paint?
Zero. Absolutely zero. Because Sock polished that hood and we knew exactly what it looked like, and we have video of before. And then we have close-up video, and we have close-up video of using both of these on the hood, and there wasn't one single scratch that was added.
Yep, during the wash. So that's number one, did great. Now, as for me, using a bunch of rinseless washes, compared to HydroSave, these two are safe to use in the sun. You have zero issues. If it dries on the sun, on the paint or whatever, just apply a little bit more rinseless with either or, and it will easily wipe off. And that's that. Now, as a quick detail spray, that's something we didn't do here, but I did show you the HydroSave, how slick that thing is.
That was really slick.
So HydroSave, as a quick detailer, Pan and both DIY, you can use them both as a quick detail spray, but I do have to give a bit of an edge on Pans on slickness if you are going to use it as a quick detail spray. Next up is staining the wash media, right? So staining the wash media. As you can see here, this is HydroSave after one use, stained on the keys. This is the one we use on both. Zero stainage whatsoever. All these black spots is because it's wet. It's not because it's stained.
Exactly.
Which one do you think removed the dirt the best off the wash media out of the two? They both did great, but one, objectively speaking, which one did better?
They both did great. I loved them both, but DIY rinsed off a little bit easier the dirt off the wash medias, both of them.
Yep, and especially with the proof where you are seeing all the overhead is DIY was super dirty, gunked up, black with dirt, and just rubbed it with the grit guard, and all that dirt pretty much came off. With Pans, you really had to go a little bit to the grit guard because you went there, scrubbed it twice, and it was still that leading edge that's still here. So that is something to keep in mind, that DIY did objectively remove the dirt, but that is, again, you have more surfactants on the DIY rinses.
So I'd like to expand on that a little bit. So on the sponges, which obviously has a different release mechanism than the microfibers, on the sponges, I thought they released pretty close to the same.
Yep.
You could almost call them a tie.
Yep.
But on the microfiber, which is obviously a different surface structure, the leading edge kind of went to DIY detail.
Yep, definitely went on the DIY detail side. And that goes again with, I kind of consider with using the sponges, they both did a great job as the dry off for, without using a drying aid is the same thing. It's like, yes, the leading edge did go to Pans, but am I afraid I'm going to scratch the paint with either or, leaving it on the paint? No, I'm not. It's just definitely, there's objectively characteristics that are better. Now, next up, we're going to talk about cost. And DIY detail for a 16 ounce is $17 and Pans is $18. Okay, but here's where the disparity comes from. The gallon. So the gallon for DIY is $49 and for Pans it's $65. So it is a $15 to $16 difference, and they both have the same dilution ratios.
That's what I was just going to ask you, because I haven't used either one of them.
So I've diluted them 256 to 1, same dilution ratios. So I give the leading edge on cost on DIY, obviously. And this is the time of recording of December 2025. So that's for all of you all to know. So back to everything, and where would I rank this? So overall, and I'm not even going to say my rank yet, who do you think won between DIY versus clean by pan. I'd rather you give your verdict first on which one you felt overall edged out the other one. Who do you think won?
Well, like I say, I would buy both of them
Again,
without any hesitation whatsoever,
definitely.
because I was very impressed with both of them. Overall edge, I guess I would have to put it to DIY detail.
Okay.
Rinseless wash, not a moderate amount, but just more of a slight amount.
Okay.
Here's the thing with the dry off. To me, that's important to be slick. So if I had just both of those and I did not use a drying aid, I wanted pans to dry off.
Yeah.
I wanted pans.
Yeah.
I like the dry off with pans is better.
Yeah.
I didn't totally care for the dry off of the DIY detail. That's where you would have to augment in, a quick detailing spray to get the slickness. So you would not have to add that with pans, even though I almost always do.
Yep.
But you probably should with the DIY detail.
Yep. And that is a characteristic that most people need to understand, is that typically people use a quick detail spray as a drying aid. The only reason for that is for that boost of gloss. So either way, you can use either or with a detail spray. And as he said, pan does have the edge on slickness in terms of just standalone drying. But yeah, so where would you, so since you gave the edge to DIY, where would you put it? S tier, A tier, B tier? Where would you put it at? And I'll give you my verdict on where. So I gotta hear Tim's first, because I don't want my thoughts to influence Tim's.
So are you defining, just to get all this correct, so are you defining the S tier as essentially elite?
Correct.
Would you define it also as
A,
everything else that you've tried, nothing else is above it?
At the moment, yes. Again, we're going based on what we've used. So the tier list will change week by week depending on the stuff that we use. So where would you put DIY and pans? And then I will give my verdict.
So DIY detail should go into S, or do you have an A plus?
No.
S or an A. So that's the best I've ever used.
Okay.
I've used nothing better. So to me, I can call that elite.
Yeah.
So I guess I would put that.
And you're not a rinseless
into
wash
the
guy, so this is like your third time using rinseless wash, pretty much. Or
No,
fourth
I've
time.
used it several times now.
You used Nemesis, which we've used that.
I've only got a little bit of Nemesis left.
You've used DIY and pans, and of course Hydra. So in terms of a handful of rinseless, that's not his go-to. That is what I'm saying. So
right. I've done it a total of about 15, 18, 20 times.
All right. Yep. So which one do you, so DIY is S tier, and where would you put pans?
I'm leaning towards A, but that is not a knock on pans because it's fantastic. Okay. So I would probably put it in an A. All
right. So you heard it from Tim, and pretty much that is spot on where I'll put it on. So I'll put DIY as an S tier rinseless wash. To me at the moment, DIY is definitely top 5 rinseless washes, or one in the top 4, top 3 in the talks of rinseless washes. And I'll put pans on A tier, and I will tell you why. Number one is cost, right? In terms of cost, pans is $15 more per gallon. And we got to still factor in cost, even though in the long run, does it really make a difference when you're using 1 ounce per 2 gallons of water? No. But in terms of cost, subjectively and objectively speaking, is DIY is cheaper, so it gets the edge on that. In terms of staining your wash media or removing the dirt off your wash media, I give the slight edge to DIY detail because it does have more surfactants or better surfactants in there. Now, in terms as slickness, to me, it's a tie, right? And the only reason is pans is slicker during drying, but DIY is slicker during actually washing the car, which is weird.
Yeah,
so
it's very odd.
It pretty much cancels itself out there. Right. So DIY is still winning on there. And
Well, one more thing here, and this is optional, but during the dry off, if the DIY detail was more grabby during the dry off, if you're into adding drying aids or not, the person or me is most likely going to add a drying aid to the DIY detail dry off. So now you're adding the cost of that because they all have a cost, no matter if they're $15 a pint or a quart or whatever.
But that's the thing. Typically, most people like to use a drying aid regardless to add that extra pop and gloss that these don't really have gloss enhancers.
And that's what I tell all my customers too when they wash their vehicles. Spray on a quick detailing spray. They'll buy some from me or the brand that I developed and all that, or they go out and get whatever.
Exactly.
But the more slickness you have between the wash media and the substrate, the less micromarring you're going to do.
And that is absolutely spot on. So that is the reason why. So at the moment, DIY has edged out pans, and DIY is an S tier rinseless wash. So last thing, but this is subjective. This part is like really subjective. Scent. Which one do you prefer? For me, they both smell good, but which one do you prefer out of the two?
There's actually two more things. Let's do the scent first.
Okay, let's do the scent.
Pans smelled very good.
Okay.
Then I smelt DIY detail second. And my nose, not your nose, but my nose personally, I preferred DIY detail scent.
Now, for me, I'm a tropical guy, and that's what Pan has, that scent. And I kind of like Pans a little bit more than DIYs. But this is why this is both of them don't smell bad in any means. It's just more of subjectiveness of which one you prefer. Like I can wash either or, and I'll be fine with the scent depending on the mood. So, and what is the second?
We have a bonus category.
Which one is it?
Bonus category is how slick did they feel after they were dry? Yes. So do you want to do yours first?
Yes. So Pans was a bit slicker after dry off, meaning the paint, and that is no drying aid whatsoever. Just it felt smoother. But the caveat is that DIY does promote, say, a damp and rinseless towel to remove polishing oil or polishing oils before you apply panel prep. So if you're leaving more slickness and polymer on the paint, then you may need more panel prep. So that is still the caveat of why myself prefer more surfactant heavy rinseless washes than more polymer based.
Good point. Yeah. So when they were both dry on the panel, and I actually did this test twice, pans did feel slicker when it was dry versus the DIY detail, which corresponds to the dry off of pans, which was slicker at dry off than DIY detail. So they did correlate correctly.
Yep, exactly. And then again, that is based on the polymers on it. So Pan's polymer is definitely stout on the paint. So that is pretty much it. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. I know the outro was a little bit longer, but it was better to have somebody that is objectively first time using both of these.
Never used them.
And that is his opinion, and pretty much he ranked them where I would rank them. So hopefully you all enjoyed this. Use code DMS at checkout for 15% off at the House of Rags. And if you want to tune in onto Titan Tim's channel, it's Shining Light Detailing on YouTube. And appreciate you for stopping by, Tim.
And Detailing Made Simple on YouTube as well.
Simple on mine.
Check it out.
I will see you all on the next one. Peace.